Hello, this is the teaching video for my fellow, and hope he can also help the one who are interested in DMEK surgery. Before preparing the donor tissue, we will rinse off the optisol from the cornea's surface, because dextran, the gooey ingredient, will block the treatment blue from staining the cornea. The first step is to stain the cornea with treatment blue to define the Schwab line. After staining, inspect the cornea to obtain more information. For example, the area of cell loss and the pattern of cell loss will give us a rough idea of the quality of the cornea. In addition, we can identify possible danger to inadvertent descemet membrane tear, such as previous cataract surgery scar. Both of the above can be candidates for the hinge area when stripping the descemet membrane. Then define the landmark of sclera and Schwab's line. Let's explain the detailed structure of descemet membrane before we start. Descemet membrane is like retina. It's only attached to the underlying stroma firmly in small focal area. In the retina, it is the ora serrata. In the cornea, it is Schwab's line. Therefore, descemet membrane is easy to tear off after release the attachment at the Schwab's line. There are several ways to release it. Here, we will use bent needle to make several peripheral descemet membrane tear to release the attachment at the Schwab's line. The needle is bended bevel down from the middle of the needle and then bended upward at the base. We will use the tip of the needle to break the descemet membrane adjacent to the Schwab's line, then make a peripheral tear of descemet membrane using the side of the bevel. The initiating breaking point of each tear should be discontinuous and close to the Schwab's line, not continuous from the edge of previous tear. If the needle is inserted from the outer edge, it may lift the descemet membrane, causing the tear to be closer to the center, thereby reducing the remaining area. If the needle is inserted from the inner edge, the tear will be very close to where the needle is positioned. This way, we can have precise control while achieving the greatest graft area possible. To make a balanced and controllable tear line to avoid cornea rotation and folding, the grasping position of forceps on the sclera for counterforce is very important. The vector of counterforce should be horizontal to the vector of the needle tip, tearing the descemet membrane. Treatment blue will be applied again to emphasize the edge of peripheral descemet membrane. I will remove the debris of descemet membrane and iris while we wait for staining, to avoid interference by those debris during preparation. After rinsing off treatment blue, we insert one fork of tying forceps into the edge of peripheral descemet membrane to elevate the edge. The key is to apply force to the underlying stroma, similar to using a letter opener to separate the tissue outward. During this process, check for any torn edges. If they are present, remove them first. Then moisten the scleral rim of the area where the hinge will be made with BSS to soften the tissue. Use tying forceps to strip the descemet membrane while applying counterforce with the other hand. This ensures that the tissue doesn't experience excessive tension, preventing sudden tearing. After stripping up to the hinge, use a 2 mm punch to create a window in the stroma. Ideally, punch one edge where there's already a hole at the base, creating a small attachment that helps keep the cap aligned when opened and closed. Flush the strip of descemet membrane with BSS to reposition it. Dry the edge of descemet membrane with a Shin-yi eye spare. Invert the cornea button and use a needle to open the window. Use a Shin-yi eye spare to dry the base, then stamp the S mark onto it. There are two key techniques in this process. First, When using a Shin-yi spare, gently place the tip at the corner of the bottom of the window without applying pressure on the descent membrane, as this could create folds, making it harder to dry. Second, apply only a thin layer of gentian violet on the S-stem to avoid spreading of S-mark, which could damage more endothelial cells. To achieve this, it is recommended to first draw the mark on the glove, which will indirectly transfer gentian violet onto the S-stem. After that, close the window back and flip the cornea button back to its original position. Drop a small amount of treatment blue and then perform a 7.5 mm punch. The goal during the punch is to cut through the descent membrane while avoiding cutting into the stroma, as this helps prevent the tissue from getting caught in the stroma's groove. To achieve this, the technique lies in using wrist strength and lightly tapping with your fingers on the punch. Gently lift the punch. At this point, the treatment glue can be used to check if any tissue has adhered to the blade. Use two tying forceps to tear off the peripheral descent membrane along the tangential direction. This action is important because if there are areas that are not completely cut, the areas that have been cut on both sides can then be smoothly connected together. If the peripheral descent membrane is not removed along the tangential direction, it could create an unwanted tear. Use tying forceps to elevate the edge of descent membrane from the stroma groove, and then stain with treatment glue for 4 minutes. The next step is to transfer the graft into the goiter glass cannula. For the preparation of graft transfer, we need two 2.5 ml syringes. One should be connected to the narrow opening of the goiter glass cannula, containing above 1 ml of water. The other syringe should contain at least 2 ml of water. After 4 minutes of treatment glue staining, wash off the excess treatment glue with BSS and gauze several times. To prevent the DMEK roll from being sucked onto the gauze, place the gauze at either end of the DMEK roll, not on the side of the roll. Then suck the DMEK roll into the goiter glass cannula through the wide opening. During this step, the assistant must fill the cornea button with BSS to ensure that the fluid level rises above the opening of the goiter glass cannula. This will prevent gas from leaking into the glass tube while sucking in the DMEK roll. Connect the other 2.5 ml syringe to the wide opening of the glass cannula. Make sure to have 1 drop of BSS at the tip of the syringe before connecting it. Then the graft is ready.